Haker Jazz. Haker Jazz.
I'm in the west coast of Norway.
Oh man,
Small town here. So that's
beautiful. You're on tour, or?
Yeah, I'm touring with this program of poetry. So it's an actor who's reading poems from a Norwegian poet called Olav Hauge, and then there's some musicians playing.
Beautiful.
Some written stones, some improvisations.
Is there like an album of this? I mean, because I studied poetry, that's why I'm really curious.
Yeah, there's an album, but it's very old. This was a project we did like 15 years ago, and then we sort of took it. And this is for me, it's the first time I tour in Norway in many years. Like I played a lot, but just like single gigs. Now it's like 10 days tour.
Wow, man! Wow,
fantastic!
That's amazing. Super. But thanks for taking the time. I mean, I've been listening to your music for 20 years at least already. When Electronique Noire came out, that was way back in 98 or something like that. So,
okay, yeah, right.
Yeah. But thanks for sending me also the latest album, which is coming out basically end of September.
Yep.
I enjoyed it so much yesterday. I put it on, was like cutting carrots and potatoes. Like, man, what? So beautiful. And I wanted to ask you about Phantasmagoria. Like, how was the process for this one? I mean, it's kind of your language, but it still sounds different. It's like more a band unit. I mean, that's what the feeling I get. I don't know, like.
Yeah, the process was actually, it was supposed to be finished much sooner, but because of COVID, everything, so basically we recorded in 2019. And then the plan was to do a little bit of post-production and then go on, but then COVID happened, and then a lot of time to post-production.
Yeah.
So if we recorded actually live, we recorded a lot of music. So I took a lot of time to decide which pieces to use and find a nice form to the album. And then I spent a lot of time experimenting with the new sounds and finding, the right feeling to old tracks. Spending a lot of time actually. So took away a lot of stuff, trying other stuff. So in the end, I'm always like a bit tired of the music. So then
I know what you mean.
That's a signal that it's time to release it, to let it go.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I sometimes when you mix and do stuff, then it's like, I cannot hear this song anymore. Like, okay.
Yeah, it's nice, strange to like the first time when we record it and doing the first overdubs, it's like yes,
yeah,
and
exactly.
And at the end of the process, starting to doubt, oh man, is this really
exactly?
Can we release this or not?
Exactly. No, yeah. But how do you, when you do this post-production or production? I mean, when overdubbing and deciding for the sounds, what's your process usually? Because when I listen to your music, it kind of it's like a movie soundtrack to me. Like it makes sense, yet it also doesn't. Sometimes it just something happens, like and. How do you decide where to go, or sound-wise? Like, do you just try things, or do you write it down, like this kind of storyline of the composition, or?
No, it's most of the time it is improvisation with communicating with what's already there to try and find something which is working, like could be a contrast, should contrast to what's there or supporting what's there. That's and then this it's nice when these things happen sort of quickly, that it's not so analyzed. It's just playing with it, and then often I just leave it, and then going back and I try not to be critical while I'm doing some stuff. I leave it and then come back and then go through everything and see, this is working, this is not working, and try to, even though it's a lot of elements there, I try to make it that it's important that it feels like a whole, that it doesn't just feels like bits and pieces.
Yeah. So let's say I don't know. I really like this Light on Sanzu River. I don't know. It's these chords are beautiful. And so let's say a tune like that. How did you write it, and how does this start with you? So you have those chords, and then where do you go from there? Like.
Yeah, the thing was, there I found this chords, and I thought I wrote this tune, and then I found out that it's actually a tune I played many times with the singer, so that's why it's
really?
that's the first part. This like two chord. Actually, the first part is from her, so that's why it's on the record says Drekker Aarset, and it's a thing called Anli Drekker. Anyway, so no, it's I can't really remember. I experimented with bow, and I found this sounds that seem to work. I think maybe I played the chords first, and then I took away the basic guitar, and then just left the bowed stuff. Yeah,
it's so beautiful.
Thank you.
It's so beautiful. And then, when I listen to the new records and also old records, I mean, you always seem to serve the music, like, even as a side person or a collaborator, or however we want to call it. And also in your own projects, which I so much admire about you and, let's say, Bill Frisell or some other musicians who are, always, it's not about the guitar solo on every song, it's about music. And but then you have this one, didn't see this one coming. And you have like some crazy guitar Alan Holdsworthish lines in between there. So how do you envision a whole record? Like, are you aware, okay, I need a guitar part here, or just like basically it comes like you said?
No, this part here, it's a coincidence.
Okay.
So I found this because it's the basis of this track is a jam session in the studio. Actually, it's a tune which is not on the record, and then that we struggle with, taking like 3 times and really, and then finally, okay, forget it, and then we just play it. So that's the basic, and then I found these chords which I put on the top, and then I bought this new pedal, and I just switched it on, and then this whole thing just came like one flow, and then it was sort of embarrassing because this is not how I play anymore, so this is something from the past, and then I played it to the other guys and the guy who mixed the record, and they said, no, we have to keep this. so that's why it's there.
No, I love this, but it's didn't see this one coming. That's like what the title says. It's true. Like you listen, you're like, man, what is this now? So it's so beautiful. But you said this is from the past, right? Kind of, okay, like meaning, let's say when you grew up in Norway, let's say you're a teenager in the 70s.
Yeah.
And were you strongly influenced by this rock heritage? Let's say we're talking about then like Mahavishnu and Led Zeppelin and all this stuff. What was your development here?
Absolutely. My first my way to get into music was because I bought a record from a friend, used record with Hendrix, and that was this is it. And tried and never succeeded actually to figure out what was going on and how to play this, but that is like triggered my interest for music and for guitar playing especially. And it's like for very many people, guitar players of my generation, it's the same starting point.
Yeah, so many people say Hendrix, and it's true for me also. You know, I heard like Electric Ladyland and bold axes, you know, and it's like, what? And you try to figure it out, and it's so heavy. Actually, it's not so easy to play, you know, in the beginning.
And especially the record I bought was live recording. The album is called Hendrix in the West. Unfortunately, the digital version which is out is not the same collection which is on the vinyl, but there are some really stuff there which I really like. Still, it's still there's such a flow in his playing, just with his few pedals and instrumentation with the guitar, like different ways of touching and bringing out sounds. It's I think it's fantastic. Still,
yeah, he was a monster. I mean, but what about this transition to jazz? Which artist was kind of what influenced you?
Well, that was my older brother brought home a record with Miles Davis record, Agartha, which is from mid-70s, and that was big influence. Also Mahavishnu, Jeff Beck, of course.
Yeah, sure.
So that, you know, led into to listen to a lot of this kind of music.
Fusionish kind of, yeah. Well, what about the jazz scene? Like, you know, I did this interview with Arild Andersen. He's Norwegian, and we do a project together. And you know, he told me, like, in this, you know, he was playing in the early 70s already with Sonny Rollins and all these guys who came to Norway to tour in Europe. Also, were you influenced? Did you see like these concerts also already in the 70s, like the jazz scene? How was this influence?
The first at the end of the 70s, I was old enough to go to. Actually, that's not really true. I heard some concert which I could attend, and I remember clearly very strong memory with the Weather Report.
Oh, really?
With the Heavy Weather tour.
Really? Oh man.
Yeah.
Wow.
With Pastorius and Badrena and Alex Acuna on drums on that.
Oh man, really? Oh man, yeah, that was
fantastic.
Incredible. Yeah,
you know, listening, you know, first time almost at hearing a PA system and with this musician, and it's just like,
yeah, we took Pastorius on bass. It's man, yeah, I love this guy. But I mean, what about the guitar? One thing that when I think of Norwegian guitar, also I think of Terje.
Yes, Terje was.
How important was he for you? I mean, you being on ECM also, and like this incredible sound that he has, like an originality.
Yeah, he's super important. I would say also that generation, those four musicians, Arild, Jon, and Terje, and Jan Garbarek.
Yeah.
Extremely important for me, and I think for a lot of people in my generation, and especially as a guitar player, Terje is a big influence. His sound, and not only his sound, but also his courage. You know, he's like clearly coming from a rock world, but just going in with full power and authority, and convince. You know, he's really convincing and strong musician. And they also, the world was in a way felt like much bigger at that time, in the way that Norwegian scene was very inside Norway, but those guys, they were able to expand and go and having their own voice and success with their own voice.
Definitely.
Yeah. And that's just like also an inspiration.
Yeah. Did you ever play with Terje, by the way? Or
no, not we never played together, but I met him many times.
would be interesting. You two guys, like 14, 15 years difference, but you know, like really original sounds, but yet kind of the same Scandinavian Norwegian vibe, like this really.
Yeah.
I don't know. I hear your music, and Terry is also like this calmness, but then comes, you know, so many, like it's just calm sea, but things are thrown in it, and like it's. I don't know, like.
Yeah.
But speaking of original sound, you know, you develop this amazing sound that it's in a guitar world nowadays. I think it's, you know, it's like an overflow of guitarists who sound the same, like this modern sound. And then you have the straight ahead kind of guys, and but you found your really way somewhere. You know, I hear you play 3 chords, and it's like, oh, that's Eivind Aarset. Like, how did this develop through time? Like, because I notice also now on stage you use like lots of effects and computer also. Like, how did this stage setup and studio setup or sound setup, whatever you want to call it, develop through time? Like, how did you work on that?
Oh, it's really gradual. In the 80s, I used to be a session musician, so I did a lot of studio work
wow.
in the pop rock scene.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
So this was my job until mid-90s. I was, but still, I mean, I played more improvised stuff at the same time, but my income was from this kind of stuff. So I was like really interested in studio work, and so I think, but this also interest came from hearing stuff, you know, which players that interested me with the sounds, like especially Terry is a good example, David Thorne, Bill Frisell.
Sure. Oh yeah.
Which were all had their own sound and experimenting with stuff. Donny Danois, of course. The U2 productions was
incredible. Yeah, he's such a player.
Yeah, and then so it's the setup grew gradually, but then it's a big change for me in like mid-90s when I started to work with Nils Petter's Khmer project, and also with Bugge, and Bugge Wesseltoft's new conception of jazz, and especially Bugge was very clear. He said, I don't want any guitar solos, I don't want any rhythm guitar.
So just like soundscape and
so then for me it was like, then what to do, because that's what I was doing. I'm playing rhythm guitar or solos.
Sure.
So that was I didn't really fit very well in that band. It didn't last for long, but it was a very good starting point for me to exercise away a lot of stuff that I was tired of in my own playing. And then at the same time he asked me to do my own record. Electronique.
Yeah.
So it's the biggest label, and I started to play with Nils Petter. And Nils Petter was not interested in normal guitar playing, so it was. And Nils Petter also was very generous in open to suggestions, and let me experiment and find. So gradually this boxes came, and some of the boxes are like been made with me from that time.
What are they, like red distortion? I don't know. No, digital delay or something, or
yes, it's which I have to buy all the time on eBay because it's especially Roland DD5.
Oh yeah,
Boss DD5.
Boss DD5, yeah.
It's very important. And then so this slowly is growing, and it's for me it's important that all the electronic stuff is integrated, so it feels like I don't have to think about which
organic.
Okay, it's this one. It has to be very quick in my, because I don't have any. Now I start to do some presets on a couple of pedals, but normally it's all changing on the spot. So it has to be organic and a part of the instrument.
Yeah, that's so important. Yeah, that you don't serve those machines kind of. Yeah, because I also listened to Last River you guys did with Michele and Petrella, and it's basically improvised, a lot of it, but it still sounds organic. Even when I see you live playing, it's like you seem to be so comfortable in doing this.
Yeah, it's been a part of me. I've been doing it also so long, so it's now very much a part of me.
Yeah,
electronic.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. And you becoming a band leader. You mentioned Electronique Noire, and I love that record. And again, you have that Holsworth moment in between somewhere, like on that wake up call, or I think. But like, how did you envision that record? You have amazing players on that one. Ingebrigt and Bugge and many other musicians. Like, how was this process for you when writing the music there? Was the same kind of as for Phantasmagoria, or like different?
No, it was very different, because at that time I didn't release any music, but I always at home in my home studio I recorded stuff, and I had a lot of material, but I really can thank Bugge a lot, because I don't think I ever would have released anything if he didn't actually ask to do this record. So he's been really important. But then I had a lot of material, and I was asked to write the commission work for a jazz festival, and I asked Nils Petter and great German bass duo, Kim Ofstad and Jonny to play on it, and also old friend Kjetil Bjerkestrand, great keyboard player. So we did this concert, and that was sort of the basic tunes for the album, and one of the tunes are actually the live recording. One was called U-Bahn. It's from And the thing, this is the first tune on the commission work. I was extremely nervous, and then the power broke in the song. So and then we had to start from where we stopped, and then I spliced this to the before and after the electricity.
Oh man! Like
I just have.
Oh yeah, sure.
No, I just need to shut off this. Okay.
But I just wanted to ask you, like, for this first record you did, like, how much did you guys? Because you and Nils Petter and Bugge, you kind of started this. Well, basically a new sound, for me at least, this mixing of improvised and landscapes and electronica and drum and bass, or whatever we want to call it. So how much did you talk with the band when you did your first album, how to do it or how to play it, or did you just jump into it? You gave them like charts, or?
No charts. It's very... actually, there was a couple of tunes which were a little bit complicated, but most of the time I made demos.
Okay. Okay.
And part of the demos is what's on the record, and then so Ingebrigt he overdubbed on.
Really? Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
On the beats.
Wow, incredible. Yeah.
So every tune had that was a long process, so every tune had their own story, and
it's so many different worlds on that album, really, like from drum and basses to this dark moisture. I think the first one, it's completely different, and but it suits together. It's like really it works. It's amazing. But speaking of your solo career, then I wanted to ask you, like, your connection with Manfred. and ECM. You know, Dream Logic kind of made so much sense to me when it came out, because, you know, I guess it goes hand in hand together with, like we talked about, Terje being on ECM, and your soundscapes kind of fit in there so much, and you did so much work as a sideman also for ECM. But how did that connection, you as a band leader, happen with Manfred? I mean, and how did that work?
It was I've been on some ECM recordings, but at that time I never actually worked with Manfred in the studio. It was like he was there for the mix. I'm not even sure it's a mix, but he decided the order and had what is order?
Like order of songs. Song order.
And but then I did this project with Kjetil Bjørnstad, which was a live record, and then Kjetil said to me that Manfred tells me that he wants to record with you. And so we started the communication, and at the same time I worked closely with Jan. I had like already known Jan for a long time, and he had produced some tracks for me on my band records. But then working with Jan was so nice, and discovered so many new things through this cooperation. So I decided I wanted to work with do album, solo guitar album with the Jan producer, and we sent the material, and we thought about this ECM, if it could be something for ECM, and I sent the music to Manfred, and he liked it, and then he came in for the final mix, and also for the sequencing is the right word. Sequencing. Exactly. And we had very, very good inputs on the sequencing, and decided this idea of repeating some tracks with variations, and it came out with a nice form.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's like the Dream Logic. It's dreamy, but it's so nice. It has such a beautiful flow. So it's really beautiful. But speaking of ECM, I wanted to ask you. You know, I've did this talk also with Andy Sheppard.
Yeah.
And you played with Andy for such a long time, and you know, the last record you guys did, Romaria, it's so beautiful. You know, all those songs, like They Came from the North and Every Flower. It's, you know, it's amazing. You two blend together so beautifully. But how did you meet Andy? How does your story with Andy begin? And how does this band work? Let's say, is there also like charts, or how do you find your sound in that band? Because again, you're like there, so egoless, but still you're there, omnipresent in a way. So
no, it's I met Andy in sometimes during the 2000s, also with Kjetil Bjørnstad project, a special project with him, and then Andy asked me afterwards to join his Movements for Colors project with two guitar players, John Paricelli and
I love John Paricelli.
Yeah, great. And then he asked me again to join this, because then he had this trio, Trio Libro with Seb and Michel. So we did we tried out some stuff in the gig they had in Lyon, and I really enjoyed playing there, and because Andy has writes songs, so it's different from my band in that sense. My stuff is not so clear songs as Andy, but I love his songs, and I love also the way he plays this elegance and lightness, and so often a lot of my playing is sounds or are coming from maybe references I have, like spoke about Hendrix. I love Hendrix and try to play like Hendrix and never succeeds, but something else comes out. And with And there's sort of, I think I have the little Bill Frisell thoughts, you know, because I think this would suit, but I can't sound like I can't play like Bill Frisell. So, but it's sort of, I had this thought of something because of the kind of tunes the little made chords and stuff. Yeah. So and then it's, but then after a while when playing, then things becomes more like natural, and also finding. I really like that moment when you feel that what I do is melting together with something else. That this is working. This is a sensation or the feeling I'm looking for.
Yeah,
and
that's beautiful. I love that. Yeah,
at this band we had this feeling of, okay, then it's instrumentation is working, and it's just like a whole thing, which is nice.
So, but do you then, like, for this band, I mean, do you guys, or you especially, like, because, you know, when Andy plays saxophone, he basically plays lines, right? And you make all these sounds in between. So already for the first rehearsal, you kind of know what you will do on a tune, or like through concerts you kind of find the sound for before you go to record? Or
it's development. It's not there from start. Okay. And he has also, of course, ideas about how he wanted, and he plays guitar very well. Guitar on his demos, so it's already some directions in there.
Oh, okay, yeah. And but one other collaboration that really intrigued me was with you and Dhafer Youssef, and you know, Divine Shadows, and like, and Birds, you know, and the sounds of mirrors. But like, I tried to transcribe some of his older also compositions, and you know, the structures are like 27 even on that one, or I don't know, 31 or 19, or you know, unisono lines and this crazy stuff. Like, how did you prepare for that one? I mean, because you still on that record, like, you know, let's say Divine Shadows, there's that 27th Athos tune with and some others, and like, but still you sound like you with your sounds, but still playing all these unisono lines and stuff like that. How did that project work for you?
No, it's a big challenge playing for me, coming from a tradition where it's playing 4 or playing 3. So, but it's very, for me, it's very healthy, and now it's gradually getting a more organic relation to it. So it's like took me a long while to improvise freely in 7 or 5, but now it's you know, and with Dhafer's tune, which is even much more complicated than that, then I found the best way for me to learn it is not to think about which meter it's actually in. So just listen to his oud riff and learning by listening, and then internalize it, and that's when for me it's sounds best. But you know, the musicians, because we had this band with the Divine Shadows, and then he went to a more acoustic approach for some albums, and then I came in as a guest with this acoustic project, and those guys, they were so much more on the spot than I've been. So I really had to concentrate and getting better at this, and a lot of work to get it tight enough.
Yeah, no, but the end result is amazing. I mean, it's this mix of you and, you know, this, whatever you want to call it, ethno world music vibe with electronics. And that's why I wanted to ask you, because, you know, I know you had that have some songs in odd meters, like the 7/4, and but this is like really, you know, beyond there. Like how to improvise on that. Like I spoke with Chris Jennings, you know, the bass player of Dhafer, also with that, and he was also like explaining basically like you, just to memorize the riff and then slowly try to open it up. But you know,
it's a challenge. And now we're playing some gigs which is done without bass, so it's percussion, saxophone, Dhafer and me, and then it's even more responsibility on me to not fuck up the.
Oh man, shit. Okay, wow. Yeah, that's heavy. I mean, that's heavy. Okay.
But you know, that's it's nice also that the Dhafer is really open. So, and also the percussion player is in the band now is really strong and good. So, and if it turns, you know, nobody's. It's nobody's, you know, as long as it swings and the stuff is happening, then it's then you're okay.
Yeah, I don't think anyone would know if, you know, instead of 23 it's 25. It's like, okay, if you don't show it, people would be like, okay. But I would just end, like I wanted to ask you about promoting Phantasmagoria. Like, do you guys plan to go on tour? I mean, if COVID permits this one, and with the same lineup with the quartet, or?
So we had our release concert in just a few days ago, and I was very nervous because we didn't play the material live before, and didn't have so much time to rehearse. But the concert went really well. So I really hope that we will get a lot of gigs with this material. The band is really sounding good now. So so the plan is we have like a few spread out gigs in the autumn, and then we have a tour period in February and March.
Oh man.
So I hope there will be a lot of stuff, and hopefully some festival gigs next summer as well.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I hope to catch you guys live. If you're in Austria or for Slovenia, I don't know, but Austria definitely. I guess I will come to catch you guys live. So cool.
Great.
I mean, thank you so much for taking the time, and really appreciate it. So.
Thank you. It's very nice talking to you.
Thank you. See you too. Yeah. So I hope to see you on the road somewhere, and we can have a beer together or something.
Yeah.
So,
Great.
Enjoy the touring. So.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Haker Jazz. Haker Jazz.